What's up, everybody? Richard and Adam back for the third edition of the TrueShot guest spot. And as you can see by checking out the title of this episode, we had Kendall Johns on from the band Dead Crown. If you guys aren't familiar with Dead Crown is a band they are signed to Stay Sick Recordings. Kendall is a phenomenal graphic designer, videographer. You name it, creatively, he can do it.
Can do it.
Yeah, and this guy, we had a lot of really good conversations because up to this point, we've had Frankie Palmieri, who's been in the game for a long time. We had Rohan from I Built This Guy, who's a totally independent dude, and we had Kendall, who is in a band who just released their second release, and he's on a record label like Stay Sick Recording. So we've kind of gotten a lot of different perspectives, and I really like Kendall's perspective here in this interview, talking about going to Stay Sick and being in a label like that, and also kind of the fallout of them trying to go on a tour with Attila and then everything happening with coronavirus. So a lot of really great stuff from Kendall in this episode. And Adam, you got anything to say before we get into the interview?
No, I thought this was one of probably one of my favorite interviews I've done. Just letting him talk, and I think this is going to be a good one. Definitely went longer than we normally go, so I think it was a good conversation.
Well, with that said, guys, we'll waste no more time. We'll get into the episode, and without further ado, here is Kendall Johns of Dead Crown. So what's up, Kendall? How you doing, man?
Dude, doing as good as I can, just like everyone else, just in lockdown, under siege.
So you're over there on the West Coast. What's it like to be 3 hours in the past? Well, how's it going over there?
It's always been a fucky thing because we've always been West Coast, and it seems like everyone doesn't operate on the same time as we do. So and especially like our record label, they're set out of Florida.
Yeah.
So so we're 3 hours behind. And then I've had so many interviews where they're like, they just think that we're from there. So yeah. I've had calls at like 7 a.m, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And they're like, oh, this is this person we're supposed to interview. And I was like, wait, what? You said it was going to be this time. I still got 3 hours. And I'm like, oh no, we're Eastern. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm Pacific. So whoops. So yeah, now I always check. I'm like, wait, PST, EST, what time zone are we in? So,
yeah, our last episode we did with Rohan Stevenson of I Built the Sky, and he's on Australia, so he's 14 hours in the future. So it was 11 o'clock Tuesday his time and 9 p.m. our time Wednesday, so our Monday. So we were how does it feel to be in the future?
I'm good friends with the dealer dudes. Maurice, he's one of my good friends, and I always talk to him and FaceTime him and stuff. And whenever I do, it's like pitch black here, and it's just sunny and good weather there. And I'm just like, God damn it!
It was funny because we had Aiden on our most recent track, and I was trying to coordinate with him, and I would message him at like 11 o'clock, and he's like, "Hey man, I'll get you back in the morning." It's like 3 a.m. here, and I'm like, "Oh, my bad, bro. I can't like do that math in my head." But it's funny you say that about the West Coast, because I used to do sports writing for Bleacher Report, and I used to do some interviews, and it was actually a West Coast outlet that wanted me to do it, and they were late night, so it was midnight their time. So that's 3 a.m. for me. I'm like, bro, we stay until 3 a.m. to talk about quarterbacks? Like, come on.
Yeah, but I like it because situations like this, like it's 9 for you guys and it's 6 for me. So I'm not doing shit dead late, and it's nice being early.
Yeah, and it's perfect for us. Because I know you're around my age, but Adam's the old guy here. I got kids. I got a kid too, but he's got kids, and they got to get to bed, so it's perfect. So glad that it all worked out.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on here, guys.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. I was stoked too, because we have a more of a I guess what you would call it as a professional relationship, I guess, if you want to call it that.
We still hang. We still
we hit you up for those of you listening. Kendall is our guy. Like when it comes to designs of any kind, whether it's merch or album covers, everything is this guy. I mean, even ask Adam, Kendall. Like I will text these guys in our group chat, and I'll be like, Kendall design. That's it.
I just see pictures pop up, and I'm like, that's dope. All right, that's Kendall. He wants another design.
You guys are always the realest, and like, just thank you so much, because without people like you, because design is my day job. That's what I do for money outside of music. I'm blessed to have that income, but it's only because of people like you guys. So like, thank you for like being my clients, but also being my friends and, you know, supporting me. I fucking love it. Thank you guys so much.
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, and I don't want to, you know, I want to get you some more business, of course, but your rates are very low for the work that you do. I mean, seriously, like for what you do, you tell me, I'm like, hey man, this template here, you're like, oh, $75. I'm like, $75, but I mean, you know, once your rates go up, I hope we're grandfathered into the rate.
That's the thing. You guys are so loyal to me that I always keep shit fair. So when you hit me up for shit like that, I'm like, for you, it's this much, but it's not always that way.
No, it's all good. But no, because I know that there'll be some bands checking this out and whatnot. So I try to link to you as much as I possibly can whenever I see
appreciate people. That. Yeah, if there are already fans listening to this and shit, I'm a graphic designer, and if you need some artwork for anything, hit me up, and you can see my work at kendalljohns.com. My DMs are always open. Thank you guys.
So they also have some other examples besides our own stuff. What are some other bands that you've done some design work for?
Oh man, I've done a couple designs for Attila, and then the biggest project recently that I'm most stoked with is I did basically before the tour was canceled due to COVID. I did the whole merch spread for Chelsea Grin on the Dark Side tour.
That's awesome.
That was a big. I got hit up by their manager and he was like, yo, I need like this shit. And it was kind of a rush job. But I just sat there for a week and just cranked out designs. And I think it was like 4 or 5 designs or something like that. But all of them, I just remember I got sent the picture of the whole spread and I was like, I don't see anything else there. They went with all my designs. So that was really cool. And then especially like seeing it up on their wall and everything, like it was a really quick, fast process, but I'm really happy and really proud of that work. And I've been listening to Chelsea Grin since Desolation of Eden, like since I was in like sophomore in high school. So just being able to work for that band and do shit that they really like, and that you know, I've seen like, you know, people just like got my new Chelsea Grin shirt, like, you know, just like people like on the internet, it's like shit I designed and they got from that tour and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's so fucking cool. I'm so glad I got to be a part of this project. But yeah, so I would say Chelsea Grin and Attila are probably. Oh, and then I've done shit for that band From Ashes to New. But the prime of my work, like the majority of it, is regional and local bands, and I love that. I feel like there's some designers that don't really cater to that audience, but that's why I try to keep my rates pretty low and fair, because I'm a dude that grew up and came up and still am in that like margin, that local regional band and shit. So I know that, you know, not everyone's got a fucking $1 million to dump into this shit. And as long as I'm making my living and, you know, paying my bills and putting some shit in savings, you know, I'm all good. So that's the other thing about me is I try to be approachable in that sense of my design work. I work with a lot of local and regional bands. I work with a lot of bands that are just starting up, but I like that because I feel like a lot of designers, once they get to a point, you know, it's not really convenient for the local startup, you know. Once you get into business for a long time, you see how shit works. But, you know, everyone needs their first designer to work with, and I'm totally down to be that designer. I'll show everyone the ropes, and I'm all about that. And I love local and regional bands because they pay my fucking bills at the end of the day, you know, like, so fuck yeah.
Well, because it's really cool because you offer, I mean, I might be biased here because, like I said, we use your work for everything that we do.
And I take care of you guys. So.
But I'm just saying.
You guys always come to me, so I'm like, I'll take care of them,
Yeah, exactly. So, but the thing that I was going to say, though, is that your work, it, like, mirrors that of, like, it's like, you know, when you go to the tattoo shop and you get a $100 tattoo by a guy who does $500 tattoo, you know what I mean? Like, it looks really professional because I mean we get hit up all the time.
Thank you.
Who did your artwork? I'm like the same guy who's done it all, you know?
We get hit up pretty often, you know how it is on Instagram. Somebody follows you for 3 seconds and DMs you, and they're like, "Hey, we got these designs." And I'm like, "Bro, listen, like nothing. You're not gonna compare. I'm sorry. I mean, you're just not gonna compare."
And I get what you mean. I think it's just I don't know what it's called or what to call it, but I just have artist syndrome where, you know, I've been doing this for so long, and even with music and shit, like I get to certain points and people around me are like, dude, this is really fucking good. This is so good. And me, I'm like, that's not that good, man. Because I'm looking at like this work. I'm looking at this, and like I can see where I want to be. And every time I get to like a plateau, it's like, oh well, I'm back to like, you know, I always want more. I always want something better than what I'm doing. And so, and that sucks because I don't really smell the roses that often. And I've had some friends kind of like put things in perspective for me before and be like, yo, you did this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that. But yeah, it's hard to, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. Cause like I said, I don't get to like smell my own roses that often, but that's also the thing that keeps me just going and keeping me like inspired is like, I want to be better than, you know, once I make it to like my goal a year ago, I'm already like, oh, that shit's like nothing, you know.
What's like, next, right?
What's the next thing? Yeah, and I'm already way looking into that and just so. But thank you guys, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about the artist syndrome because at the time of us recording this, we're pretty much done with a new song, and I'm going through it and I'm listening to it. I'm sure you do this too. You listen to the new song on repeat 50 trillion times to make sure you're like, all right, I'm content. Yeah. But there's like 2 lines. I'm like, Adam, I got to change this. So the way that we do this is that we record everything at Adam's house. He's about an hour away from me, so I'm literally.
Yeah. We do the same. Our guitar player Eric, he does all of our shit. So we record everything with him.
Yeah. So we go there to record it. We send it off to get mixed and mastered. But I go to Adam, and I'm literally going to be driving an hour to his house tomorrow to fix 1 line, just because I'm like, man, like I can do that a little bit better. I know that I can. So it's funny you say that because it's like, all right, I did the rest of the song up to my standards, so to speak. But this 1 line is just going to eat away at me until I change it.
And that's how it be sometimes, man. You know, we do stupid shit for just a little tiny payoff, and it's just like.
Yeah,
you know, but we're at the end of the day. All the people that listen to it, they would probably be like, "Oh, you drove an hour to fix that little thing. Like you're fucking dumb."
It's
but
probably
that's how it is, man.
It's literally probably something that could be like fixed in like the mixing and mastering process.
Yeah,
but
dude, just like, just cut it around.
Yeah, but no. So
he's gonna come here and he's gonna do it the same way he's been doing it, and it's gonna be no different. But he's gonna be like, "Yeah, that's the take."
Probably. But
no, I feel that too, though, because I've had takes where I'm like, I'm not feeling it, and then I'm like, it's the same line and everything, but as a vocalist, there's just like a delivery. That's my thing. Is like my delivery. It doesn't sound like the delivery I want it to be. So then once I nail that, I'm like, that's the one.
Exactly, because
it's got to be a feel thing too, right? So if it just doesn't feel right.
And I think it's just a vocalist thing too. Like the Eric, when he records me, like sometimes he'll be like, that was good, and I was like, no, because it's just like I don't know. It's like the way it is in my mind. It's like I need to get that on paper, even though it's not paper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get it documented.
Weird, yeah. And it doesn't always come out the way you want it the first time. So it's like, fuck,
Yeah. Or you have the part where you like have something in your head and then you lay it down. You're like, oh my god, that's terrible.
That is
like,
terrible.
Exactly. Yeah, I've had a lot of those, and thankfully Eric's really good at helping me with that shit. He's like, and then I'm like, can you help me? And he's really good at helping me. So, mad love to Eric, and he makes my life really, really nice when it comes to vocal tracking. Love that guy.
That's good. Yeah, no, because it's that's but like you said, it be that way sometimes, and
it does,
Yeah, but so speaking of music, we haven't even said like
Jesus
what band
Christ,
you're in. We kind of just dove into it. But you're in the band Dead Crown. You're recently signed to relatively recently signed to Stay Sick, and before that you were in a band called We Rise the Tides. Yeah, so I try to do as much research as I can. I'm trying to put my journalism degree to good use here. I paid all that money for this. This is the stop. This is the end stop here. But so I went back and actually listened to a little bit of We Rise the Tide just to kind of see, the contrast in music between that band and Dead Crown. Because for those of you who aren't aware of Dead Crown, have never listened to Dead Crown, these guys are just heavy. Like, I mean, they're just down-tuned, heavy band. A good way to describe you guys? Yeah. So I was listening to We Rise the Tides, and it has some of that flavor to it, but it has, a more traditional metalcore kind of feel. So I guess transitioning from We Rise the Tides to Dead Crown, I know that Brighton, your drummer, was in that band as well with you. Is Dead Crown that that type of music that you're doing now? Is that the kind of stuff you've wanted to do all along? even when you were in We Rise the Tides, or?
Yeah, I think so, because I will say, like, We Rise the Tides, there's a lot of shit that you can find out there that's like, oh, that's bad, but I think our album Deathwalk was actually a really fucking good EP for what it was, especially at the time, and like metalcore and shit. Like,
yeah,
I still, like, I'll listen to that Tides EP and I'll be like, this is good shit. And like vocally, I was out for fucking blood trying to do all this crazy shit. And with Dead Crown, I'm not so much a technician anymore, but back then I was like, yeah, you know, trying to do all the fucking bells and whistles and shit. But you know, we were really into Make Them Suffer, the Never Bloom record. So if you listen to that, you'll hear that inside. Like, let's be the metalcore version of that. But yeah, so that record was really sick. But yeah, towards the end of Tides, I mean, there was just a lot of shit personally that was going on within the dynamics of the band. You know, I mean, being in a band's like having 5 girlfriends, you know, and you can only, sometimes it just doesn't
luckily 3 of ours get along really well.
There you go, you know, yeah. So like shit just wasn't happening, and I was tired of it. And then that's when Brighton, he was kind of in Tides for like a hot second towards the end.
Oh, okay.
But then he was also like, you guys haven't announced that I'm a member in this long. Like, I'm kind of over it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting over it too. And then that's when he was just like, listen to this song that me and my buddy Eric just fucked around and wrote, kind of. And that was Dethrone.
Okay.
And he showed that to me on a Tides tour, and I was like, whatever, it's all right. I played it off cool. And then once like it kept going, he kept writing, he kept sending it to me for some reason. And I was just like, yeah, this shit's really good. And so I sat down with him and Eric, and I was like, hey, we should like do this and make this a band and like pursue this hard. And then that's kind of how Dead Crown started. And then we got Brent shortly after. But yeah, no, I think the attitude and everything, yeah, it was stuff that like with Tides, I guess towards the tail end there, I was, you know, I did want to do more hip hop influenced stuff. You know, I was, it definitely was like something I felt more was me, because, you know, even this day, like, I'm not a huge deathcore guy. I'm not a huge, you know, vocalist technician kind of guy. I just like shit that you can, you know, slam and vibe to and fucking have fun listening to, you know. And so that's where Dead Crown, I was like, okay, this is awesome, because I can do that and we can do that. And not saying that Tides wasn't, but yeah, I think Dead Crown, and it was like a blank canvas and I finally had like a group of guys that, you know, they could just be themselves and they were fucking perfect and awesome, but they also, we all understand politics and the business and everything. So, you know, if we want to be like, let's brand ourselves this way, let's do things this way, there was no pushback or anything. And we've always, us four in Dead Crown, we've always gotten along so well. We've always been a democracy. There's never been any fucking huge ego trips or anything, which like with Tides, there was a lot of that shit. And just, you know, writing a song was just fucking, you know, tearing your fucking eyes out. And, you know, there was other factors in Tides too, but with Dead Crown, it was like, I got 4 new best friends, and I was like, oh, this is how these relationships are supposed to be. This is how a band's supposed to be. This is how friends are supposed to be. And with that, just everything just like kind of comes organically and natural to us, because we all just have that that chemistry and that relationship with each other, which is a huge blessing. And I know a lot of bands don't have that. Sorry, I'm like kind of rambling.
No, it's good.
It's good. That's all good stuff.
But yeah, so with that, you know, whenever there is something, you know, with whether it comes to how we sound, how we look, how we want to push ourselves, every idea gets thrown out there, and, you know, there's no immediate shutdowns really. It's, you know, let's try it, see if it works. Let's do this. And, you know, we're a dictatorship, but that's the thing, because, you know, we all trust each other. It's, there's not really any like bad ideas or there's nothing bad ever thrown out on the table, you know, because it's like, we all know each other and trust each other. We all know how long we've been doing this, and that we all have level heads and don't have fucking, you know, none of us are working for ourselves or working for the band, you know, that kind of shit.
Right.
So speaking of how you look, so speaking of Tides, you gonna bring back that hairdo anytime soon, or is that gone forever? Because Adam, you probably haven't seen it, but this guy had hair out to here, coming down here. I mean, it was everywhere. It was nuts.
Yeah, dude, my hair is crazy. That's why I keep it in a bun and I wear a hat so much now.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
Yeah, because like, dude, my hair, like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, I have like Afro curly hair. It's like, it's thick, it's high maintenance, it's huge. It's just like, it's not like normal curly wavy hair. So, I did that like for so many years of my life. I just always had a big Afro, and I was just like, all right, I'm fucking tired of this, man. And I graduated to a simpler hairstyle, and yeah, I don't miss it at all. So yeah, the Afro's gone. It's staying gone.
Because there was one. Yeah, because there was one music video that I saw for your old band, and the people are just
terrible.
It's just all about the hair. So I thought that was funny.
And I had braces. I was like 16, 17 in high school when we did that.
Yeah, so because you started that band back in, it said 2012. Is that accurate?
I think we started in like 2011. Yeah, because 2012 was when I graduated, and that's when we put out that Carrier EP.
Okay, yeah, I graduated in 2011, so yeah, you're my age.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not even going to tell you when I graduated.
I graduated in 63.
64.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, you've been in the game for a while. So, actually, I'll speak to how I discovered Dead Crown, and I'm sure it was how a lot of people discovered Dead Crown. Franz one day literally put you guys in his story for what song was it?
I think the first one he ever did was Home.
Home. Yeah, exactly. It was Home. Yeah, I had to think of it. And the music video definitely, the visuals on that really grabbed. Adam, I don't know if you've seen the music video, but let's just say it was
its
similar.
Entirety.
It had some nice visuals in the form of some females. So a very very nice video.
Oh, kind of like the 6ix9ine video we just watched.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Yeah,
we're not fucking snitches though. So.
Oh yeah, snitches end up in ditches.
Surprised he hasn't yet. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I discovered you guys. And so the thing that I was curious about was, so since that, obviously he was interested in your band, and now you're obviously on his label. But the time between that post and when you announced the signing was pretty far in between. So I'm curious, was it soon after that him posting that he reached out to you, or what was the timeline there?
I'm gonna mind fuck everyone. So Franz, he's like he is Stay Sick, but also there's another guy who runs the label,
Milford. Yeah,
and he's from Portland, where we are.
Okay.
And then there's another guy who's from Portland. His name's John, and he worked merch for Stay Sick Clothing on Warped Tour and for Attila a couple times on tour.
Okay.
So through these people that we knew, that's kind of how Stay Sick heard about us. But Mike Milford, he actually passed on us the first time we got pitched to him, and so that's why we put Come Hell Out by ourselves. And John would always show the shit to Franz, and Franz would be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool," but nothing came of it until Mike really wanted to sign us. So what happened was, right after Come Hell came out, it did really well. It was our first release, and it was just like, and we put it out on our own because we wanted to just be like, fuck everyone who like kind of passed on us. Even though we were still such a new band, we were like, we know that like we can do something cool with this shit, so we're gonna do it. And we did. We charted on Billboard, had some decent numbers for our first release ever, and it was fucking sick. So like a week after the album dropped and everything, I get a text from Mike, because I had worked with him on other projects for like what I do for a living, like design and video shit. Yeah. But I never once like pitched in my band. I was like, I'm not going to be that guy that's like, yo, check out my fucking band, dude. And at the time that was when he was like working for Rise and shit. So like, I'm not going to fucking do this shit. And then fast forward to like where I'm talking about now, like a week after Come Hell came out, he was getting ready to leave Rise and do Stay Sick full time. And he just texted me out of the blue, and he's like, so you guys trying to fucking sign or what? And that's literally what the text said. And I was like, I don't know, like what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, Stay Sick. And I was like, well, and at this point, like once you've done like an independent release and you see like kind of the money that can come in, and once you like see and hold like what all you can actually do for yourself, signing a record deal, it's different. You have a different attitude towards it. It's got to be the right deal. Right. So we were like, well, let's meet up. Let's have a talk, and we have some concerns and shit. So we met up with Mike, and we basically gave him all of our concerns. We were like, we want creative control. We want all this shit. Like, not even all this shit. It was mainly just just like, you guys are gonna like take us and make us do all this fuck shit, right? Like, we're gonna have control over what we can and can't do and all that shit. And he's like, yeah, no problem, you guys are fucking fine. And then he sent over a contract, fairest record deal I've probably ever seen in my life. We signed it, and then he was like, all right, well, when can we announce? I was like, well, Come Hell just came out. So now this is where the Franz thing comes in. I was like, we still have a whole cycle of this.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so Mike was actually trying to get me to do to get us to announce earlier. Like, he wanted to just do like an image announcement, and I was like, no, fuck that. And then we already had the plans to do a video for Home, so we did that. And I remember talking to him. I was like, dude, do you have any like YouTube channels we can drop this on or anything like that? And he was like, why don't you just drop it on Stay Sick and we can announce? And I was like, no, because I want to announce with Stay Sick once the new cycle and the new songs come out. That was one thing
makes
like
complete sense.
headstrong on. Yeah. And that was one of those things. They're like, okay, yeah, you can do that. And so yeah, we put Home out on BBTV. So Franz knew about us, and we were actually signed when that video came out, but we weren't announced yet, and we were still posting content that wasn't on contract for them. Right. But Franz, it was actually really cool because they benefit nothing from sharing that shit. So Milford and Franz shared the Home video and like pushed that, and ultimate gains for us because we get all the money 100% from that release. So and that was one thing Mike said. He was like, yeah, dude, and you know, if we do this and shit, like, this will bring streams and shit to your guys' back catalog. That'll get you guys money. And that's the thing that's sick about Stay Sick. Their interest is always in us. And that, you know, we run our own merch store besides our pre-orders. And we keep 100% of that. You know, they only touch what they fucking touch, you know, like,
which makes when it comes to sense, right?
I mean, yeah, but there's a lot of bands that don't have those, don't, you know, like, they put up an online merch store of like shit they funded themselves, and it's like, oh no, like, you know, you got to give a percentage of this to someone or this and that. I gotcha. So it's awesome because we still have all of our freedoms and everything, and they're always looking out for us. So yeah, but that's how that happens. So yeah, it's a really cool, generous thing. And then when we released Family, that was when we announced we were on Stay Sick.
Right. Yeah, I remember that because that was going to be my question, because I know that you had kind of touched on it a little bit there. You said going from being an independent artist to then signing, because I mean, for, you know, to this day and age, you know, you can really do everything by yourself. I mean, obviously you don't have a lot of the connections that a record label has and whatnot, but I mean, you know, you're relinquishing some stuff as a result of going to a record label. So that's what I was going to ask you, was it really creative control, you know, pulling the Hogan WCW card there to jump to Stay Sick, or what?
It was mainly just like, is the deal fair? Are they going to give us something that we can't get ourselves? And, you know, do all the cards look right? You know, that was the biggest thing, because there's a lot of deals that you can get offered, you know. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but there's some labels out there where it's like, no, we're not going to give you all of our masters and all of our shit that we paid for free so that you can take 50% of it. Like, no, not doing that. So, like, you know, Stay Sick, they came at us. They're like, we have a budget for you if you want it. We have these things for you if you want it. And it was just like, okay, cool. So we have money if we want it. So there was we have budgets in our contract and shit. And the percentage split is very fair, more than fair. And everything, everything just checked out, you know. It was like, oh, this is a legit offer. This is a legit deal. And we love Mike. We love John. We love Billy. We love Franz. We love all the people that work at Stay Sick. They're, you know, they're friends of ours now. And so, yeah, it was just like kind of the perfect thing. It was just like, why don't, like, we'd be dumb if we didn't do this with where we were. So,
yeah. Yeah, because obviously, I mean, I've interacted with Billy a couple times on Twitter. He seems like a cool guy, but it seems like the Stay Sick,
awesome.
the personnel over there, especially, you know, obviously with Franz involved, it seems like it'd be a nice group of guys to work with, you know. So that's good.
Mike Milford's kind of like our main point of contact, and he's ultimately the boss. And so whenever we need, you know, and that's the other thing, the dude's a phone call or a text away. I just hit him up, and it's either like yay or nay, and most of the time it's just like, yeah, do it. Well, you know, they support whatever we do, so that's what's awesome about it.
Nice. Yeah, because I mean, like you said, you do video work. So do you do Dead Crown's videos as well?
Yes, I do.
So,
I do all of our shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. That's what's pretty interesting about what you do in being in a band is that I'm sure that I was going to ask, is that part of like kind of your contract, because they don't have to really pay for a lot of this stuff. They would normally have to.
So what happens is, like, we have a budget, and what we said is most bands they would be like, oh, let's take all this fucking money. And right now with our contract, since we're getting ready for LP, I can technically hit up Stay Sick and be like, hey, I need all this money right now. Give it to me. But no, we were smart, and we don't like to be in debt. We don't want to start our band out in debt. Because of COVID, we got debt assigned to us.
Seriously.
But thank God we didn't. So since we have all these resources in house, when we signed, we were just like, we have this budget, but like that doesn't mean we have to use it. So we only used some of the budget for, I think, guest vocals and tracking drums. And I think overall Crucify Me costs like $1,200.
Oh, wow.
Is that because you're doing the recording at Eric's house? Is that?
Yeah. So we outsourced for drum tracking, and then we had a guest feature that was kind of expensive. So
what do you mean you outsourced? So you basically you wrote the drums somehow, and then you had somebody else record it?
No, Brighton went into an actual studio and recorded drums.
Oh, you mean outsourced studio work. I got you.
Oh, yeah. And then those files got sent to Eric, and then he mixed it all and all that shit.
Oh, nice. So Eric does all the mixing. Does he do the mastering as well? So he's doing. You guys are doing your own full production.
Yeah. And then for music videos, I set everything up, and then I get a friend to come and do all the shots that I can't do, and I, walk through and be like, this is what I fucking want. This is what we're doing. And yeah,
you could have a selfie stick to record yourself. You can't find a friend,
Yeah. I know.
So what is it? So considering that you guys do a lot of this stuff on your own, what are the things that you benefit as being on Stay Sick? Is it the extra exposure?
I mean, honestly, a huge thing is just having those people in our corner. Right. Mike Milford, he's a pretty notorious name in the metal industry. So having a guy like that at bat for you and willing to pull strings for you is really awesome. And we're very thankful for that. Besides that, just resources, good distribution, solid distribution, and just more eyes on the product, I guess. We got, that's essentially it. It's just like, they're just putting our shit in front of more people. And
Nice. Yeah. So what is it like working with Franz? Because obviously from us on the outside looking in, we see Franz as like to me, he's like literally he could go into WWE tomorrow and be like cut the best promo out of all of them. Because I know you're a wrestling guy, so I'm trying to sprinkle the wrestling references here. But what's it like working with him like behind the curtain, kind of?
Behind the curtain, I mean, so here's the thing, like record label wise, honestly, Franz, he's not too much of the hands-on guy with the business side of that stuff. Gotcha. That's a lot of Mike. So the only times I've really talked to Franz is when we like hang out and when we see each other, and
oh, cool.
Every now and then we might like text each other or something. But he's always been, since the first day I met him, just a really cool, relaxed guy. The way he performs live is something I admire and I strive for. He's really good at being a front man.
Yeah.
And I like the things I was trying to do, I see a lot in how he does it. And I really look up to him in that way. But besides that, I mean, he's just a dude. He's, and that's what I mean. Well, we don't really do a whole lot of business directly with him. So we just know him as Franz the dude, Franz the homie, and Franz. Franz the guy, when he's in town, we're going to get fucked up with him,
Yeah.
Does he go out in public in that persona, or does he just kind of like dress down normal dude?
I mean, he's like, he always looks like Franz, but he's not like, when you go out to a bar with him, he's not like 666 fuck bitches, fucking I'm going to fuck your bitch right now at the bar. He's not like that. No, he's just normal dude, we go out to the bar and we sit down, we get booze, he was at AVN, and I was at AVN too, so we hung out there for a little bit. He was really chill. I don't know if I can say this or not. There was one point, because he has OnlyFans now.
Yeah.
And me, Billy, and Bill, we all had a hotel room, and Franz was like, yo, me and this girl are going to go make some content and he wasn't staying at the building we were in. So he was like, "Can I borrow your guys' room?" And so I remember, he took my hotel key to go fuck.
Bro, that's gonna be my new line.
Yeah, and then he came back and he's like, "Oh, here you go." And then I was like, "All right, sick." And then I went to bed. It was just like, But that's the thing, it's just homie shit, like just like, yeah, dude, go get your shit, fucking make that money and get that nut. Like, let's go, baby.
Man, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Adam, after this podcast, go walk upstairs and just look at Emily and say, "Hey, let's go make some content.
Let's go make some content."
That's the new line right there. I like that.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times, and we ended up with real content. So we're not making any more of those.
So for those of you not watching the video version, Kendall, he's wearing a Degrader hoodie. So Degrader, they're really close to us. I mean, they're like next state over. Like I've talked to Liam, I've texted him quite a few times and whatnot. So have you ever actually met the guys in Degrader? I know you're obviously on the West Coast.
So What Fest.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sick,
okay.
Yeah, Stay Sick had a stage, and we fucking there were so many Stay Sick bands out there, and that's where we all kind of met and like rode down. There was a Stay Sick party, and that was we were all just fucked up at this bar till like 2-3 a.m. Yeah, I was really fucked up, so I can't remember. I think the boys in my camp, I think we found some drugs too, and we partied till like 5 in the morning, and then I had to wake up at like 9 to do all the shit, and then we played that day. So, but yeah, it was a wild time.
Yeah, I'm gonna write down here. Put on YouTube, not suitable for kids. Okay, let me write that.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So the one thing that I've noticed, because obviously Stay Sick, a lot of really awesome bands coming out of there. Not only you guys, but like Degrader as well, Dealer, who bursted onto the scene out of nowhere. And all the bands kind of have. I don't want to say you guys all sound the same. I'm not saying that, but it's a similar vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's all the heavy stuff. So like, because I see a lot of different people on Facebook and whatnot, kind of, they're goofing. They're saying like, yeah, hey, stay sick, like whatever, like, their own music videos and whatnot, pay attention to us or whatever. So like, for those bands, and I'm not saying, like obviously the blueprint for how to get signed to Stay Sick, but I guess just for a label in general. I mean, so what are some things that, some independent bands who want to make that next step to get signed, what should they do? And if anything particular to Stay Sick, is it musically or, you go ahead, take the floor.
So this is what I did. And it's what works. So in my old band Tides, I remember we were trying to do every formula. We were trying to fit every nit of the hat. With Mike Milford, who was with Artery at the time.
Okay.
He was in Portland. He was in our own backyard. And in my old band, we tried to get him to notice us so many fucking times, and it didn't work. Never worked. And, no one really gave a shit about us. With Dead Crown, I literally... like I said, like a lot of the shit, as gimmicky as it might seem, it's just a really big reflection of us and what we think is fucking sick. Yeah. Dead Crown it's such an organic thing, and I love that, and that's what we did. I was just like, let's just be fucking us. Let's do our fucking thing, and then if people don't like it, fuck them, and then let's just go and just be you. And that's the most cliche shit ever, but once I started doing that, that was when people actually started noticing, and people started hitting me up being like, yo, your band's fucking sick, I want to work with your band. And it's like, oh, okay. So I would say the first thing, if you have the attitude of like, we're doing this to get signed, then you're already in the wrong ballpark. Right. You need to get the mindset of, because everyone you talk to, it's like, what's your goal with this? You're like, well, if I can make a living, making music, that'd be sick. Okay. So your goal and your mindset and your motto shouldn't be, I'm doing this to get signed. It should be, I'm doing this to be successful. So once you start working with that mindset of, okay, well, I want to do these things to be successful. What do I need to do to be successful? I need to make these moves, do things this way, do things that way. And then once the success starts coming in and you're just working for yourself and being successful in what you're doing, that's when people will start coming and knocking and being like, hey, you guys are doing good. We can offer this for you. So I think it's just a huge mindset thing. Especially nowadays, it's a lot harder, I feel, and a lot different to get signed now. And maybe not harder because there's like some smaller labels and shit. You can sign a shitty deal and say you're signed, but you're not really fucking signed.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot. It's a really weird world we live in now, but that's my biggest thing. Because I've been in the band where we were doing everything to get signed, and that's just I think bands need to get that out of their fucking head. You shouldn't be working to get signed. You need to work to be successful. And once you make that simple switch, you'll start seeing things a lot fucking differently. And that's what will take you to the steps of like getting signed and doing all that shit.
Well, I also wanted you to say, you know, and work with you for designs and stuff like that. That'll help you get signed. I mean, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, okay. So that's that is actually one thing. Invest in your product and invest in your shit.
So that's a big deal. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's a big thing that Rich and I don't want to say we went back and forth on, but I think we in the beginning of
this guy.
You know, we had put together this EP or whatever, and it just, I was like, well, it's an EP. Well, why don't we just release it and just kind of, it's our first material. And Rich was adamant about the product. And, you know, it took me, I don't know, maybe a week or two. We were just going back and forth as we were kind of finishing up some production stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's just do it. And it was, it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Dude, and yeah, like when I say invest in yourself, you know, I just gave the spiel about how Dead Crown doesn't spend a lot of money because we're all in house. Full disclaimer, we're fortunate enough to we're in a situation where I make my living doing that for other bands already.
Right.
I'm someone qualified to do that for ourselves. Eric, there's a lot of bands that pay him to mix and master their fucking album.
Right.
If you don't have that, sorry, like your guitar player Jason, who just cracked Photoshop, is making your album art. Probably not a fucking good idea, dude. Yeah, go invest in your product, get good mixes, get good masters, get good visuals, because dude, it makes all the world of difference. I can tell almost 9 times out of 10 what a good band and a shitty band will be just based off of the first like visual incomings of it. You know, like before I even hear something. And then the second part is like when I hear it and I'm like, oh, is this mixed good? Is this good production? Is this good shit? Then it's like, okay, there you go. Like you're automatically a shitty band within the first like 3 seconds of me seeing and hearing you, or you're a great band based on the first 3 seconds of me seeing or hearing you. You know, so that's why it's important. Get professional people to make your band look fucking professional and sound professional.
And I think that's a big thing too, because there are a lot of good bands that put out subpar content, you know, production wise, that would be way better. You know, just even from a perception standpoint, the music doesn't change. It's just how it's presented and represented that makes that big change. That makes that big difference.
And the thing with those, it's like, and I'm sorry if I'm blunt with this, but from what I've seen from people like that, those are the kind of people that they're delusional and they, you know, like they kind of deserve to be where they're at because, like, well, you didn't want to put in the extra work to do things this proper way. You didn't want to put more care into your product and represent your craft the way it should have been represented. Sorry, you know, you can be as talented as you fucking want in the world, but if you're not investing in your product, it's not going to invest in you. So,
right,
sucks to suck.
Yeah, no, because I mean, you know, I try not to. I get it, right? There's a local scene and whatnot, and we're I mean, in the grand scheme of it, you know, we're nobody. You know, we're another local band from this area, but. I mean, when I really pride myself because I'm not a musician. Like I'm a vocalist. I mean, I worry about my vocals and my patterns and whatnot. But like my thing is like the marketing and the branding and trying to present a product that looks good. Because I mean, I see a lot of local bands that they just like throw stuff at the wall, and it's like, guys, like it literally kills me inside to see that.
Because it's good stuff, and I think that's the part that kills us.
Sometimes it's horrible. I mean, I'm just being straight. Like, sometimes it's just the drizzling shits, to be totally honest.
But some of it's really good.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't get it. So like that's why, like, you know, I see, like you said, like the Photoshop, you know. Or not even Photoshop, but the Microsoft Paint album arts and stuff like that. I mean, like even for our podcast here, or you know, that has, you know, we're just starting this, or you know, we do a reaction to stuff too. I wanted to up that is, you know, going to you for the templates. It's you know, and some people be like, oh, why am I going to spend $75 on that when I can just do whatever? And it's like, but it's presentation aspect of it. So right. I'm glad that you touched on that. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, would you buy coffee from a porta potty? You know, Someone was selling.
Makes you want to run to one, but yeah. But
no, you're gonna get your coffee at Starbucks where it looks nice, it's clean, it's fucking all dapper and looks nice and presentable.
I'm a Dunkin' Donuts guy. I don't know if you got them over there.
Oh, you guys are East Coast. So you guys are Dunkin' Donuts. Sorry, my bad.
See, I'm used to the watered down stuff. I drink the Starbucks. I'm like, oh man, this is a little too real for
me. That's your high test.
I can hear the Dunkin' in your voice. The Dunkin' of bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yo, dude, let me get a Dunkin'.
Whenever I was on tour with a guy from Philly, and every time there's a Dunkin', he'd be like, "Yo, there's a Dunkin' 2 miles down the street. Can I go? I need a bacon, egg, and cheese and an iced coffee. Like, really, like, goddamn, I'm gonna kill someone if I don't get my bacon, egg, and cheese and fucking." And so, yeah, I know how seriously you guys take your Dunkin' over there. Awesome. It's weird because over here we're like Dunkin', like, is that like coffee for poor people? Like, what is that?
Yes, it is. That's Cow Hampshire people.
I mean, hey, it gets rid of my headache in the morning,
Yeah, but that's just how different it is out here. It's just like, what, Dunkin'? You guys actually,
right?
That's weird.
It's weird. So geographically speaking, so we're in New Hampshire. So we're
on the complete opposite coast.
Yeah, like literally the complete opposite coast. So I'm like, I mean, I could leave my house and be in Massachusetts in 5 minutes. So like, I have a little bit of that accent infused with mine.
No,
so it's funny that it's funny you say that.
Yeah, and then that's another. Speaking of Degrader, Carl, who's now in Degrader, he was an extortionist on the tour we did with him, and dude, he had the fucking accent too, and I loved it because Carl's such a fucking awesome guy. But it was awesome when he would get like a little mad at something.
Oh yeah, that's when it comes
just
out.
Like something around him, he'd be like, "God fucking damn it, I'm fucking," and he would just go off, and I was like, dude, it's crazy because like West Coasters and stuff, like we don't, that's not normal to us. We don't hear that. They talk like me, and it's just like, and we get mad, we just sound like white people getting mad. It's
dang nabbit.
So, yeah, it's like, damn it, fuck. What are you doing?
Oh, and then
man, like, God damn it! If I don't get my fucking bacon, egg, and cheese, God damn it,
I'm gonna take you out back. I'm gonna break both your legs.
I don't smoke cigarettes. But that's the ultimate combo: is a cigarette with a Dunkin's coffee.
Oh yeah,
but,
coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Coffee.
You didn't know coffee had a W in it?
I didn't. Yeah.
CW. Yeah.
But the weird thing though, it was like old people over here. Like my grandma, she said like wash is wash.
Wash.
So it's like, so my grandma would always be like, I gotta go put stuff in the wash, or like, yeah, we're going to Washington or Washington D.C. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where did that? And then like me and my family talking about it, it's like, where did that come from? But yeah, there's a ton of old people around here that are like wash. And I'm like, it's washed. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's funny because I have a friend. I know that you're over. You said you're in Oregon, right?
Yeah, we're in Portland.
Yeah, you're in Portland. Yeah, so I have a friend who lives in Washington State, up in like really like right on the coast of Vancouver, and it's just like so different. It's like so weird how different the coasts are. Like, it's just amazing to me. Like, it's crazy, especially where he lives, where it's like nothing, and then like one major big casino, and like that's it. But
yeah. And that's where I'm from too. I'm originally from Washington State, and like my parents still live in Washington because Portland, we're right on the border. So like, I drive 5 minutes that way. I'm in Washington. But yeah, like I'm a Washington boy normally, and but yeah, no, like out here, especially West Coast, like East Coast, you guys are so squashed in like this.
Oh yeah.
That's why touring the West Coast is so shitty, and it's so hard for bands like us because. Our next market, because Southern Oregon, that scene's shot now, so we got to drive 12 hours south to our next market, which is Sacramento.
Oh, man.
And then we got
and I complain about driving to Jersey.
Dude, yeah, and so Seattle's like 3.5 hours away. That's not bad, but then from there to Spokane or Idaho, that's another 12 hours. So touring West Coast and doing West Coast run, it's like, dude, you're so spread out on the map, and it's like, fuck, and sometimes you'll do those long drives for just a shot fucking show, and it's like that's how it is. But that's also the beauty of it too. You can drive out here and just get fucking lost, and it's awesome. And there's a lot of nature out here. There's a lot of cool shit like that. But I'm sure there is where you guys are too. But I don't know. It's just fucking weird, man. We're still spread out over here.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because I mean, it's weird because like our scene over here, it's a lot of like hardcore bands. I mean, there's a ton of hardcore bands,
a lot.
We're not really like hardcore. We're more, on the metalcore, side of it. So it's hard to like kind of find like that balance because we're either on a bill with, where we're the heavier band, or we're on a bill where we're like the metalcore band out of the hardcore bands, or it's like it's hard to like find like that little like that group. I'm not saying that it's obviously good to play.
No,
with
yeah, but no,
bands, but
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, it's weird because like I said, the New England hardcore thing is very real, and I didn't really realize that until I was in a band.
Plentiful.
Yeah. It's actually funny because we've talked to Degrader about wanting to play with them, but it's never actually happened yet. But I'm sure that it will. And they just released a new song too, which was a good song. So
it was dope.
Yeah, it was. I had to like look up on Google how to pronounce it just so I didn't look like an imbecile on our reaction channel. But speaking of reaction channels, I haven't asked any of the other guests this, and I really want to ask them because. Like what do you think of like the reaction channels? You think they're corny? You think they're like cool? Do you think it gives exposure to people? Like
so for me personally, so just to back up, like I'm not a YouTube guy really whatsoever. Like my girlfriend, she's super into like all the YouTubers. So I mean, like she watches them all and all that shit, and I'm just not into it. So I'm not into it from like the get go. But whenever I see people react to our music and stuff, I love it. I think it's awesome. And I can see how that brings joy to people. And like, and it's like, no, it's not corny at all. Like, everyone just do your fucking thing. If people like it, they fucking like it. If they don't, they don't. Fuck off. If some people are getting some enjoyment out of it, cool. If you guys are having fun with it, fucking cool. Who's to tell you like what it is and isn't? Just do your fucking thing, and everyone, can either get on board or suck you from the back,
Well, it kind of goes back.
Take
to
that, Nightwish Army.
Yeah. So those people were relentless. But it goes back to what we were talking about though, because we're a local band and we're trying to stand out. So that was kind of the route that we took. I was like, why don't we do this? Because I've always kind of liked them. I think they're kind of interesting, especially like you said. You can see the why it would be enjoyable to people. So that was just
no. And you said like. Thing. And that's the thing. You guys do definitely stand out. I'll say it because I see you guys on the internet, and you guys go above and beyond. You're doing reactions. You're doing this podcast. You're doing that stuff. Like that shit's cool. Other bands are doing that, and I know what that's like because I remember when Facebook Live and all that shit first became a thing. That's when Come Hell came out, and we were. I don't want to like toot the horn, but I feel like we were one of the first bands to really start using that as a tool.
Yeah.
Because it was in our pre-order stages of Come Hell, and we would do Q&As all the time, and then, I'd use OBS, get the graphic up, and like every time plug pre-orders and like do all that shit, and then now it's like we're in quarantine and everyone's doing fucking live stream shit, and rightfully so. But back when live stream was a new thing, it was like, like fucking let's do this, let's jump on it, and that was one thing we did, and a lot of people weren't doing that at the time. So like. And because of this quarantine, I feel like a lot of bands, you guys are going to start seeing that too. You're going to start seeing bands that have a podcast that do react videos. So just keep doing your fucking thing, dude. Have fun, man.
We were here before. We're goals to be here after, right?
Well, we've copyrighted the metal band doing a reaction. So any other bands that do it after us, they stole the idea from us. It's guaranteed. So there we go.
I know, and like I hate saying it like because even for us, like no one stole doing live, But it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, this is a tool you can use, and we hopped on it before a lot of people were using the tool, and that's that's cool, and it just shows what it shows more than anything is just that you're intuitive and you're eager to be ahead of the curve, and you guys are doing something outside the box, and that's good. It shows, and fuck yeah, just keep doing your fucking thing.
Yeah, well, enough about us. I want to go back to you because I want to go back to Come Hell actually, because what I wanted to ask you is, like you said, you had a lot of initial success with that EP, and like you said, it was so you were in a band before, obviously, so I'm sure you had some carryover from that. But what do you think what do you think you guys did to really get those Billboard numbers as an independent artist? Because, like I said, a lot of unsigned young bands will be listening to this, and like what would you say you guys did? I know you mentioned the live streams and whatnot. But,
the biggest thing. I mean, I really hope I don't crush people's fucking reality. At the end of the day, it's not really that hard to get on Billboard, especially now because people don't buy records. If you're smart with how you report your sound scans, if you register things correctly, you can sell a couple hundred records in a week and you'll make it on the charts. You know, that's how it is. And so with Come Hell, we wanted to do that independently and just to show that we could fucking do it. And also, you know, me with my like mommy and daddy issues, I was like, because, you know, me and my dad, we grew up watching fucking like the Motley Crue and Poison, Guns N' Roses documentaries. And with those, it's like this song was #1 on the Billboard charts for this many weeks. And I was like, oh, maybe if I get like a Billboard, you know, like my parents might fucking be proud of me, you know, like I honestly kind of did it for selfish reasons, just to be like, oh, maybe if I do this, my family and people around me will start taking me seriously. But that was just my own personal, like, fucked up vendetta, you know, I should probably see a counselor for issues, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's just, if anyone wants to learn how to do that, just go look up Nielsen SoundScans. For live shows, you use an app called @Venue to report your scans, and it's all done weekly. So just learn that and learn how to like do all that shit. You prep your release and plan your release. So what we did is we hit all of our best markets in the first week that our record came out. So we had hundreds of sales at all these dates of physical CDs that we reported on top of the online. So that's what put our sales in that spot. But then, you know, with Come Hell, we were able to fib a little bit, and then with Crucify Me, since we were on a label, we couldn't really do that anymore. We had to kind of keep things more legit, and we still charted, but that's because, like, I mean, dude, I just pulled up a Facebook memory came up, and I remember we had an image for like 30K all-time streams on Come Hell, and it's like, what, we were flexing that, and like I went to Spotify and we're like over 500,000.
I saw you guys post that.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's crazy how much perspective and shit has changed. And like, so shout out to anyone that listens and fucks with Dead Crown and has been streaming our shit. You guys are fucking amazing. Yeah, Crucify Me, it's like, sorry, excuse me, I'm drinking some some hard seltzers.
I think Adam is too.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, no, dude, fuck yeah. But yeah, no, and that's what you need to see. You know, you need to see that growth, and it's been really humbling and really cool. And you know, just like the whole pre-order process with Stay Sick, because you know that's the other thing when you are on a label and stuff. Like, there's pressure. It's like, oh, we got to perform. You know, like you're fucking with other people's money. You're fucking with other people's business. Like if your band doesn't do shit, then like so there was this new pressure on us for Crucify Me, and I remember it was scary because at first, like, our pre-orders weren't really moving that good. And I was like, God fucking damn it. Like, holy shit, just stressing out about it. And in the end, we ended up doing pretty good with pre-orders and all that shit. But it's, I don't know, it's just all different. But it's crazy how perspective and how everything can change from one release to another, you know? Like I said, like, oh, we got 30K streams on Spotify to like, oh, we got like 500,000 now. And that's still like not that much, you know? Like, we want to have more now. So, it's just crazy.
Yeah. So speaking of those pre-orders, I was part of the very top tier one. I just want to toot my own horn here.
Plug.
You know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, because I remember Mike. He was like, because most fans, they don't do as much as we did, and he didn't. And I was like, I made it a point. I was like, can you make a package that has everything in it? And he was like, yeah, normally those don't do very well, and we had quite a bit of those. But that's cool, and that's an attestment to like our fan base. So like, yo, everyone who listens to it fucks with Dead Crown, thank you guys so much. Because that's one thing the label said is that we had a lot of like big money orders and a lot of you know people that you know. I guess it shows like if you really fuck with that band, like you fuck with them hard, and you're like, I want fucking everything, and that's awesome. Like we love that. It's better to have a small cult following than to have a million
1,000
people
true fans.
Yeah, 1,000 true fans, exactly. Yeah, having true fans, and and that showed. And it wasn't like the craziest numbers in the world, but it was really cool to fucking see. It was definitely more than Come Hell, and that's the biggest thing. It's just release to release, always seeing progress. Like if I ever see a decline, that's where I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, god damn, you know.
Yeah, so. Well, no, because it was definitely important for me to support you in that way as well. Because like I said, the prices for the stuff that you designed for us. I mean, I was like, man, it was also I mean, I'll be honest, the pre-orders were strategically placed, like, because I was like, oh, I want that shirt, but I want that one, but they're not together until you get to this one down here. So I like all the merch, like, because that's the other thing too that I think would help people want to buy it too, is the designs themselves were just really good too.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, and that was one of the things where like we were initially supposed to have less, and then once we like kind of saw them all, Mike and the band were like, well, dude, we kind of have to have that one. Like, it's too sick. Yeah. And that's like why we had more than a lot of bands, I think, because Mike was just like, and the label and all of us were like, yo, like, all these designs are sick. Like, yeah, that one should be on there. You know, we should. And I think actually it was Mike who pulled the plug. He was like, I want that design too. Like, fuck it, we're going to do like 5 designs. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Nice.
So, and that's, and that is riskier because, you know, it's like, man, that's a lot of fucking product to move. So, and that's the other thing people don't realize. It's like, you know, you can have all those kinds of shit, but like actually moving product, like that's
believe me, I know. Yeah.
That's hard.
It's hard.
300 people will tell you they want to buy them. 3 people will buy them.
Exactly.
Then you're like, what happened to the other 297 guys?
It doesn't matter what people fucking say. It matters what shows up on the fucking invoice and what's in the fucking account.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I got a question for you because, you know, I know that you had a tour. You were going to go on tour with Attila, right?
And Volumes.
And Volumes, right? So now, obviously, that's postponed. Going to be rescheduled, I'm assuming. If you could tour right now, and that tour was already done or whatever, who would you guys want to tour with?
Definitely Attila. So like that's why this like whole COVID thing kind of fucked me up and kind of fucked all of us up in a different way, because we have been working for years, and we finally got our first support slot with the band that we felt that we can go out with and actually do good and convert well, and like, you know, that's the audience that we want, that we've been working to be in front of. You know, we're not just friends with them. Like, it's there was a lot of shit that went into us getting on that tour, and so with that, you know, when you're doing a tour that big, a full US, most people don't have the capital to just like buy that merch order up front. So we had to get all the merch fronted. So we have a $5,000 merch debt, because that literally all the shit showed up to my house 2 days before all this COVID shit started happening, and then like a week before we found out it was postponed. So like it fucked us in that way. So we have a huge debt now, and since everything's going on, like, we're not selling crazy numbers. Like, you know, the merch order was designed to be in front of thousands of people every fucking night, and now it's like, we just have, you know, it's different. So it's like, it's not, our debt's not covered, and so now we have to like bite that. But then also, you know, just me personally, like, that was my first huge support tour that I had ever gotten, that I've been working literally years in my life for. And this stupid fucking pandemic, it was really hard, you know, not to sound woe is me, but it got taken away from me. It did. I got very depressed for like a month after that, and I was in a really rough spot. I'm finally coming back from it, because, you know, it's shitty. You know, it's just shitty because it would almost be better if there was like a reason, or like I could pin it on something, but it's just like, nope, everyone's eating shit. So that makes it better and worse.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just like, fuck. And, you know, they're saying the plans now are to like postpone and reschedule, but also at the same time with how, like, we don't know shit, and there's only a matter of time before everyone says like, someone could just pull the plug and be like, no, the tour's not happening anymore. And then it's like, all right, sick, we're back to like ground zero. And we don't know if we're going to get an opportunity like that again. And that was our opportunity to capitalize on. We never even got the fucking chance. And that's Dead Crown as a band in existence. We've always had people kind of like against our grain, not wanting to see us get to certain places. And we've always, you know, kind of just been like, fuck you, and done it. And this was supposed to be the first opportunity that we had, where it was like, we can finally go out and prove why we are, you know, not to fucking sound cocky or anything, but like, this is why we are the shit, and this is why we're in front of you. We are going to fucking make all of you in this room a fan of ours by the end of the night. And that's what we've been working for so long, and then just COVID was just like, nope,
light switch off,
like,
because that lineup perfect for you guys.
Dude,
I mean, perfect.
Well, yeah, and like for us, we're like we really pride ourselves in our live show. Like we kick ass live. I'm just gonna fucking say it. Like we do really good live.
Yeah.
And we're really strategic with everything and how we do it live. And like all of our rehearsals before the tour, we were like, dude, with this set we have, we're going to fucking kill everybody. Like we were so stoked on our set. Yeah, we had everything dialed in, and then it was just like, nope. And like I said, and like it goes back, like it would be, we were never the band that was just handed opportunities. We've always had to work really hard for everything we get. And so we finally like got that opportunity, and then it was just taken from us from like a stupid thing. So sorry to go off, but that's
I'm sure it'll come back though.
It's a loaded.
It'll come back.
That's just a loaded question.
Yeah. Well, speaking of coming back, I mean, what is your opinion on what is this going to look like, man? Like once we're able to play shows again, tour, because like I mean, you're seeing stuff about no moshing. Because the thing about no moshing is a lot of venues don't want you to mosh to begin with, but people do anyway. But I mean, dude, like I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, man, like, because I mean, I you're a front man, and I'm a front man as well, and I really feed off of the energy of the crowd.
No, exactly. And so here's what I'll say. I think it's not going to be an issue of like this is the rules, like you can't mosh. It's going to be more of a capacity issue. So. Right. Because it's, my honest feelings is like you could put signs up on the venue just like how Warped Tour put a sign up that said no moshing. Right. Like it's gonna happen. But the biggest thing is that venues, which in all these phases, venues and places are gonna be operating at 25-50% capacity. So you can't, once people are in there, especially small like little clubs, like I don't think you can really enforce. And businesses won't be able to afford security to enforce those rules. Right. So it's kind of like, I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about showing up to like 2,000 cap venues and having 500 people there.
Right, because because the one thing that I was thinking of, and actually Franz, speak of the devil, he was tweeting about how ticket prices have to be raised because I mean these bands can't afford to go $20 for 50 people.
Well, also like it's a venue too. Like you look at any business model or business plan. Same thing in Portland. Our nightlife industry is huge, and they're expecting businesses to operate at 25% of its capacity. The business is set up to profit and pay its bills off of 100% capacity. So essentially, the business, even if people are going out and stuff, they're only making 25% of the money they need to fucking operate and make profit. So that's the other thing is like, oh well, if we can't operate at our full scale, then that's so much money lost. So we either have to eat shit or raise prices. So it's like it's gonna be really. No one knows where this is gonna go. All I know is that I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
I think underground's gonna come back, and I think we're gonna do some sketchy shit and pack 100 people into a 75 cap warehouse and fucking
don't say that too loud. The police will listen.
Yeah. FBI
feds are listening. Shh.
Yeah, that's a joke. That was a joke. But yeah, no, I honestly think like that's gonna be the norm for a little bit until these venues can get 100% back operable. I know me personally, I've already been looking into kind of like spots where we can kind of do
run your own shows.
Yeah, and do it like smaller, low key. Like, of course, when businesses are reopening and stuff. But then again, who knows? Because I know the fines out here are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or like a business, it's who knows. At the end of the day, that's all I can say is like who fucking knows, and I don't think anyone knows. So,
yeah, because we had a show originally. As like a couple weeks ago, rescheduled to the end of June for like a 300 cap room, and I'm like, are you guys out of your mind? Like, there's no way this show is happening. Like, no way. So it's weird, man. Like, I really like. I've said to we've talked in our band group chat and whatnot. I'm like, guys, like I literally wouldn't expect to play for like another like year, like literally from now. Like,
and I know for the Vengeance tour, last I heard. This was like 2 weeks ago. There was holds put in for February and March, and that every band except for one of the bands on the package was still down to do it. So that's great. That's fucking great news for us. Like, hopefully it stays that way. But that's still like February, March 2021.
It's a long way away.
maybe do it. And that's the thing with the Vengeance tour is like Xavier Wolf and Attila. That's like 1,000+ cap rooms every night. So it's like we'll see where fucking America is by then. But I think if we have to postpone it again, they might just be like, no, fuck this, we're canceling everything. Like, it's just it's a who knows, what the fuck's gonna happen.
I mean, As LA Dying, the Atonement, was it the Atonement tour is scheduled at the August Burns Red and Killswitch Engage. That's postponed until I think they have late 2020 dates on hold, and then As LA Dying is scheduling from a year from now for their tour. So
good for them. I'm glad they're fucking on it.
Yeah,
like, that's how you have to be. But yeah, I heard that Vengeance we're putting holds on February, March.
Yep.
2021. So
yeah, and it makes sense. So I mean, people are going even further than that too. So
yeah.
But yeah,
hopefully. I was gonna say, hopefully, when you guys can get back out there and tour, I hope that you're part of a lineup with Attila, but also hopefully Amur can be on that package as well, because I feel like those two bands embody you guys really well. Yeah. So I feel like that would be the Vengeance lineup though. Like I looked at that up and down, even like some of the hip hop artists that were on there and Volumes, and then obviously Attila, and I'm like, man, this is like Dead Crown's bill. Like this is it. Like this is this.
And that was
like,
the other cool thing about Vengeance. It was. I know it's been done before, but the idea of a full like hip hop metal bill to a T, like that was. It was a co-headliner metal hip hop, and the support acts reflected that, and that was like. We as Dead Crown, we have been like trying to push for that for so long. That's why we got like almost all of our guest features are rappers on Crucify Me, except for Aiden. And so like we've been pushing for that for a long time. And so we were stoked to like be a part of that. And we thought, that tour was really special to us because not only because of like the opportunity, but it was like, what this could do for music and like how this can bring people together and what it can do for all these genres. Like, because metal and rock, it's not selling like it used to. Maybe we need to get in front of these new people. And we've always been advocates and down for that. And we've always wanted to see, how we can do for that. And, do exactly what Vengeance was doing. And so to have it be on hold or something, but that's what I mean. From what I heard, we're still planning a reschedule. So that's the other thing. I think the artists believe it too. I want to say Attila and Xavier Wolf, they believe in the vision too. And I hope that's the case, but I can't speak for them and I don't really talk to them personally.
Right. How did you manage to get on that too? Because I mean, because from the outside looking in, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, Dead Crown is on a tour bill with the band Attila, and their frontman owns the record label that they're on. How did Dead Crown get picked over X, Y, or Z band? Is it even like that, or what's the?
Kind of. It's a lot of politics. A lot of. Yeah, we were lucky to get it.
Whatever you can say. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No. At the end of the day, Mike Milford.
Yeah,
Mike Milford. He fights for us really hard, and we really. I can't tell you how much I love and appreciate that man enough. He's awesome, and he does fucking work for his band. So yeah, it's all Mike. He's the man.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I guess so I know that we try to keep these around an hour, so I know we're getting sort of relatively close. Or we might have even passed it by now. I don't even know.
It's all good.
We're at 1:15.
1:15. All right. Well, I'll get you out here in a minute, but I couldn't let you out here without talking about a little bit of wrestling, because I know that you're a wrestling guy. I have a conspiracy theory that Adam, because his last name is Levesque, and we know who else's last name is Levesque, and we're from the New Hampshire area.
To the game?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's a conspiracy of mine. I was saying, he says no. He says he's not, but I'm like, I have a conspiracy that's how the band's being funded. We got some Triple H money coming in, but
you need to get on Ancestry because you're missing out on the check. He just sold a bunch of his stock too. So
it's been a conspiracy of mine because literally Triple H is from Nashua, New Hampshire, which is where Adam's from. That's where he's from.
Dude, and you guys have the same dude. Do an Ancestry right fucking now. Be like, hey, the game Triple H, Paul Levesque. I'm your fucking long lost cousin, and I want some of the family fucking dough. Get me in the business. I know you just sold a bunch of your fucking stock. Fucking hook me up. I got a fucking kid. Like, I got kids.
There you go. So the thing that I wanted to talk to you about is so I know that we're relatively around the same age, and obviously my first introduction to wrestling was the Attitude Era, and that is just my bread and butter. I literally love that era, and I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, this era doesn't do it for me. It doesn't.
This era sucks, and the era I grew up in and that I got into with my friends was actually the Ruthless Aggression era. Okay. So when they put out the Ruthless Aggression specials, that's where I was like so fucking stoked on that, because that's when I was super into it with all my friends. Was when like Angle, Lesnar, Cena, Edge, they were all dominating the scene. Right. And like I look back at Attitude and I'm like able to appreciate it, but Ruthless Aggression, like that's my fucking era, and those are like that's my fucking time. But yeah, no, today's product's absolute bullshit. That's why I'm really happy AEW's around. Fucking love AEW. I love what they're doing. I don't even watch Raw or SmackDown anymore. Then also like I'll try to watch the big New Japan shows, keep up with that. So I try to keep up with all the wrestling promotions, because I know there's like so much good shit happening out there, and WWE is just shit in the bed. Vince McMahon's an old fucking senile crazy fucking piece of shit. I kind of hope he goes to prison for all this fucking scandal shit with insect.
Oh man, yeah, he's got a lot going on. Because I mean, the only affiliation I have with wrestling now is I listen to a podcast every day from Vince Russo. I'm sure you know who Vince Russo is. Dude, so I've talked to Vince. I have his phone number. I text him and stuff. He is a good dude. Like, he is he is a really good dude. Like, he's super nice, super accommodating, and I've been on his podcast a couple times where they make fun of the dirt sheet writers and stuff like that, and it's always a good time. He's a good dude. So. I'm not trying to turn you or anything, but no. I'm trying to
spread the good word.
Spread the good word, that Vince.
Yeah, no, I haven't listened to his podcast. I need to listen to it because, another podcast. I listen to Talk of Jericho all the time.
Oh yeah,
I love Talk of Jericho.
There recently.
Yeah, and then also recently, After the Bell with Corey Graves is actually really good. And I've been listening to that. Yeah. So. Can we pause real quick? I have to piss my pants.
Yeah, go for it.
1 second, boys. Oh!
All right.
I can still hear you guys too. I'm on Bluetooth.
Oh, yeah, he's got his pods.
All right, let's go. Very nice. I'm not editing.
We'll have some outtakes.
I'm not editing this. No, I'm not.
Keep it. I don't care.
No. This is going.
That's like 48 ounces of hard seltzer.
Scene Daddy will have like a new video up. Watch Kendall Johns from Dead Crown Peas on podcast or something.
As long as he doesn't care, it's good.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm not editing this out. No, let's just staying in.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yep.
Okay, but anyways, what we were talking about, wrestling podcasts and shit. So I got a master bedroom. I got my own pisser. It's all good. But yeah, no, wrestling's fucking dope. And here's the biggest thing. I know we're going off about wrestling and there's a lot of music. People are like, oh, that's fucking stupid. Yeah. If you want to learn how to be a frontman, if you want to learn a thing or two about what crowd psychology actually is and what controlling a crowd, like what all that goes into, watch fucking pro wrestling, apply that to your music, and you'll be like, wow, what the fuck?
Don't watch
it's all the same shit.
Still watch the rest of the WWE promos though, because those are what was that one from this past week? They were something Natty was saying to one of them. She was like, "How dare you disrespect the miracle that is motherhood?" Like, who the hell says that? You know what I'm saying?
No, and that's what I mean. Yeah, modern WWE, they're fucking whack.
Sounds like a soap opera to me,
dude.
It's like written for 9-year-old. Like literally, it could be on Nickelodeon. It should be on Nickelodeon. I mean,
dude,
really.
Yeah, no. New WWE product is horseshit. Don't watch that. Go. Fucking watch the old school shit where they actually said real things.
I was watching the UFCs. I never got into wrestling.
Even though you're Triple H's nephew. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah,
believe that?
I saw the damage it did to his heart and soul.
There's no damage.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the damage? He's killing it, bro.
Yeah, but inside he's a sad, lonely
But it was cool that on NXT they had Wage War on there, so that was pretty cool that they had Wage War featured on NXT. Yeah, that was really cool to see.
Oh, yeah, I remember when Kane Hill played live at the Takeover.
Yeah, stuff like that you would never expect. So I thought that was really
super
cool.
Super sick. Yeah. Bring Me the Horizon's been on there numerous times.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sick. And then AEW Dropout Kings was on AEW Dark.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're supposed to be like we've worked with a promotion called Defy. Like they're not huge or anything, but we've done some
the guy
stuff
in your music video for
the big he's a pro fucking wrestler. His name's Shaft. He's awesome. He kills it out here. But also, you know who Priscilla Kelly is?
I don't know.
It's fucking God fucking damn it. He's one of my favorite dudes. It's Darby Allin's real life wife.
Oh, okay. I know who Darby. I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's a fucking badass. She's like probably one of my favorite female pro wrestlers right now. Apparently she digs our shit. We just sent her like a merch package not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
And so I hope she like wants to use our music for something. But
yeah.
But it's cool. Like it's cool because I'm a huge wrestling fan. So when I see shit like that, like people like Priscilla Kelly, like coming and like following us and being like, oh, I legit like you guys and like getting merch packages from us and shit like that. It's like, dude, that's so fucking tight. I love that shit. So it's dope.
That is awesome. So I'll get you out of here on this though, Kendall. So what happened to your podcast? What happened to your podcast? Bottom of the bottle.
All right. Yeah. So basically, so I already like run and manage my own business and like my income.
Right.
So when it came to the podcast, like it was something I loved doing, but all the backward behind it, like the back end, like work, it was a lot for me. And the payoff wasn't really there, but also just like I didn't have the time and the means. And then that's what kind of made me like just like kind of fall out of love with it, because I tried it twice, and just getting dicked around by people and guests
can be tough.
Making everything work. I had a co-host and like getting that scheduled to work out because he was working full time and went to college. It was just like so much, just like extra. It was more of a stress than it was a happy thing. I loved making the episodes. I loved doing that, but everything outside of that, I didn't like. And I was just like, like, fuck this. It's just not the time again. And I've had to do that twice now, and it sucks. Like, I'm not proud of it. It sucks being like, oh, you failed. You weren't able to like commit and follow through with this. But also it's like, I could clearly see my heart was just falling out of love with it. So I was like, nah, I'd rather just be a guest on podcast and focus on my part.
Here you are.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Yeah. So
no, it is really fun. It is really fun. But sadly, like all the bullshit around it, it was just too much for me at the time. Especially this was around the time that we were putting out Crucify Me. Me doing all of our visuals and everything, I was on
busy.
Top of my on top of my normal day job and shit. It's just like I don't got much time, and and I don't have help with it. Like it all just rides on me. So and if you do that long enough and you stress yourself out and about something long enough, you'll fall out of love with it. So I just kind of fell out of love with it. So
Well, I have emailed Franz. I'm going to keep emailing him. Eventually, I'll crack through the surface. I'm confident that I will. I got Frankie, so that was really cool because I'm a big Amira fan. So I was stoked on that. But if I get Franz on, that'll be a Joe Rogan length if he'll let it go that far. It'll be like a 5-hour podcast because I can talk to that guy forever about stuff. But
I would just sit here with popcorn at that point. Just like, cool.
Because
turn my mic off.
Marketing stuff, I would just be like music stuff. I'd just be like marketing stuff all day long. But all right, man. I really appreciate you doing this, man, and I appreciate all your time tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. But we go ahead, plug away, man. The floor is yours. Everything you got, go ahead.
Listen to Dead Crown, or you can Stuck Me from the Back. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good shit. Social media, it's everything / or at Dead Crown Band. Hope you guys fuck with it. If you want merch, you can go to deadcrown.com/shop. Like I said, we have a huge merch debt, so if you can buy anything from there, that helps us out directly. All the money goes to us, and it helps us pay out our debts that we owe people for a tour that didn't happen. So, yeah. And then if your band needs to look sick and tight, hit me up. Go to kendalljohns.com. That's just my name.com. Look me up. DM me fucking anywhere. Email me. I don't give a fuck. Just if you want to work with me, just fucking hit my line and I'll get back to you.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, there you
Thank
have
you.
it. Kendall Johns of Dead Crown. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
Take it easy. Get
All
drunk. Have a good night.
Woo! Saturday
Take
night.
care, brother.
Peace, man.